I'm Greg Thompson, former executive director of the Chick-fil-A company in the United States. And it's great to be with my friends from Atomy again today. I first met your company when I was in Seoul back in 2019. I was doing a presentation on the Chick-fil-A story at a Faith in the Workplace conference. One of the highlights of my trip was when I met your founder, Mr. Park. And yes, he was wearing his very cool hat that day. I've been asked to speak briefly with you about the Chick-fil-A story and maybe tell you a little bit about the secret of Chick-fil-A's success. I don't know how much you know about Chick-fil-A, but our founder, Mr. Truett Cathy, started out with a strong faith, an idea for a unique chicken sandwich, and one tiny little restaurant. And today, Chick-fil-A has more than 2,500 restaurants across the United States and Canada. We have sales of more than 13 billion US dollars. And oddly enough, our mascot is a cow. The cows are always encouraging you to eat more chicken. You may be wondering why I'm holding this hiking stick. This is the stick I use when I hike in the mountains and in the woods. The reason I like this stick is because in the handle, there's a compass. And a compass, of course, always gives you the right direction. And without a compass, you can get lost when you're on a hike. So a compass is very important to me and to anyone who's out on a journey. My personal compass is my relationship with Jesus Christ. When I started out my career as a journalist and then with IBM, I chased all the things that the world said would make me happy. Money, fame, success, pleasure. Those are the things that the world said that I thought would make me happy. But oddly enough, as I did this, I had this hole in my heart that kept growing larger and larger and larger. And I discovered that the only thing that would fill that hole was a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so when I accepted Jesus Christ, it gave me a purpose. It gave me a compass in my life. And now, following the compass of Jesus Christ, I don't ever get lost. I've been fortunate enough to work and live all over the world. For example, I lived in Asia for 5 years. And wherever I go, I find that people have that same kind of hole in their heart. So if you're feeling that kind of hole in your heart, just like I used to, I would encourage you to seek a relationship with Jesus Christ, because that's the only way you can fill that hole. It will give you a purpose. The founder of Chick-fil-A, Mr. Truett Cathy, had that same kind of faith in Jesus. And right before he died, I interviewed him to ask him, what is your secret of your success and the secret of Chick-fil-A's success? And what he told me was, the secret was having the right priority and having the right purpose. And Mr. Cathy started out, he had very little education, he had no money, he had really none of the advantages that we would have in starting a company. Yet when he died, he was one of the most wealthy men, one of the most influential men, and one of the most impactful men that the world has ever known. Millions of people have been impacted by his example. And so remember his priority. It's all about purpose, it's all about priorities. I believe that a big secret to our success at Chick-fil-A has been our corporate purpose. And it's been the fact that we stick to that corporate purpose and we use that to guide everything we do, just like a compass. Our corporate purpose is very simple. In fact, it's so simple and so important that I put it on my business card, because I want people to see the corporate purpose and understand how important it is to us. And our corporate purpose says to glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that is entrusted to us, and to have a positive influence on all who comes into contact with Chick-fil-A. Now you'll notice a couple of things about that purpose. There's no mention of making money. There's no mention of selling chicken sandwiches. It acknowledges that there's something bigger that we're doing here. We're part of something much bigger. And it helps us understand really how we fit into all of that and what is our real purpose for being here. There's also there's mention of stewardship. We don't own the resources that are entrusted to us. We are stewards of those. And that helps us take a longer view, both for our company and for our place in life. That is how we run our company, and that is our direction. That is our compass. There's some other biblical values we use in running our company. For example, we believe in the golden rule. You do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So we try to treat our employees and our customers the way Jesus treated people in the Bible. We also talked about love our neighbor. And our neighbor could be anyone, a high in society or low in society, in any country in the world. But yet, Jesus teaches them to treat them with honor, dignity, and respect. We also do something we call second mile service, where we try to give people more service than they expect. Anyone can make a chicken sandwich, but we try to go beyond and treat people in a way that makes them feel better. And you will find that directly in the Sermon on the Mount, when Jesus talked about walking the second mile. You can tell that I've lived many, many years. I'm a grandfather now. And one thing I've seen time and time again is the importance of knowing your direction, knowing why you're doing what you're doing and where you're going. And that's a compass, that's a purpose statement. And I have found that organizations that have that do well, and organizations that don't. And it's just not about making money. There's more to that. I worked more than 20 years for IBM. And IBM used to have very strong values. They used to have a compass. But then when the storms came crashing down, I feel like IBM lost its way. They lost their compass. And they're a shell of what they used to be. They exist now to make money, and they're not terribly successful. And I believe the reason for that is they lost their purpose, they lost their direction, they lost their compass. Chick-fil-A's corporate purpose was created in 1982. Chick-fil-A had existed for about 15 years. It was started in 1967, and they were having good gradual growth. But then in 1982, the storms hit. Chick-fil-A and Mr. Cathy personally had a lot of debt. The economy started going down. Chicken prices went up. Sales went down. People were just not buying as many sandwiches. And there was a sense of panic beginning to come in. So Mr. Cathy and his senior executives went off on a retreat for 3 days. And everyone back at the Chick-fil-A company was waiting to find out, what are they going to bring back that's going to save our company? So after 3 days of meetings and prayer and discussion, they came back with one thing. It was not a new business strategy. It was not a new product. It was that simple corporate purpose. 2 sentences. Some people even said, is that all you have after 3 days? But they had that purpose, and we had our compass, and we regained our direction and our purpose. That purpose, as I said, was to glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that's entrusted into us, and to have a positive influence on anyone who comes into contact with Chick-fil-A. It's that simple, it's that hard, and it's that profound. And from then on, we've had our compass, and that's been guiding us ever since 1982. And we've been blessed. Our growth has been phenomenal, and yeah, storms may come again, but now hopefully we won't get lost in the storm. So when is a purpose important? Well, the first one's obvious. It's during hard times. It's when the storm is raging. Now, 2020 has been one of the most difficult years in the history of the United States. Of course, we've had the worldwide pandemic. We've had serious economic problems. We've had political unrest. We've had people getting sick and dying. We've had people losing their jobs. We've had companies going out of business. It's been a very, very difficult year in our country. During a storm like this, it's very easy to lose your direction. Just like if I'm hiking in the woods, if I'm hiking in the mountains, and the storm comes, think about it. The rain is coming down, the thunder is thundering, the lightning, the wind, it's dark. It's easy to lose your sense of direction. That's the kind of storm that has been hitting companies and people in the United States in 2020. So it's so easy to lose your direction. But if you've got that compass, you know where true north is, and you can plot your way to safety. I mentioned there's a second time when having a purpose is especially important. And this one will surprise you, I think, because it's easy to understand you need a compass when the storm is raging and it's dark and you're trying to find safety or you're trying to find your way home. The second time you need a purpose particularly is during good times. Now think about that. You don't think you need a compass when it's sunny and you're out hiking. But I have found in my experience that the other time that companies and individuals can lose their way is during times of plenty, when they have everything they think they need, and they're content, and they're satisfied, and they're not willing to really seek God or look at their compass. Oh, I can go hiking without my compass. I know the way. But the fact of the matter is, you can get just as lost in good times as you can in bad times. For example, during good times, you have everything you need, so you begin drifting away. And suddenly you're lost. And it's hard to find your way back, especially during good times. Because sometimes you don't think you need to find your way back. And then suddenly you've drifted away until it's too late. And frankly, I think that's Chick-fil-A's biggest challenge right now. During a time of plenty, when our growth has been like this, and things are going so well, it's easy to begin to drift. It's easy to forget that you need God. It's easy to turn away. It's easy to start looking at the money and forget that it's not our money, that these resources are here for us to be stewards of. God entrusted us these resources for a greater good. It's easy to lose track of that. And I know your company's had success. So I would tell you, I think that's one of your challenges as well, is how do you remember how you got here, and more importantly, where you're going. So that's my hope for each one of you personally, and my hope for your company, is that you will have that strong purpose. You'll understand what God has for you to do. You'll understand the bigger picture of what you're doing. You're just not trying to make money. And the Bible's very clear on this. You know, if you go to the book of Proverbs, 3rd chapter, you find that famous verse that has guided me for the last 30 years of my life. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. In all of your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. I wish you continued success at Atomy, and I wish each of you success in your own life. Thank you for having me today, and may God bless.